What's up, everybody? This is Cyrus, author, researcher of metaphysical, supernatural topics, and I want to mention, in case you haven't figured this out yet, that Wikipedia is not a resource to use when trying to learn about metaphysical, supernatural, kind of outside the mainstream subjects. So I forgot my nose clip tonight so that I can go on the Rupert Sheldrake Wikipedia page. Rupert Sheldrake is a biologist, a very well-known biologist, biochemist, and cell biologist from Cambridge University. And basically he has proposed very, tame concepts of telepathy, like that birds can migrate and flock together and maybe finding a way to share information between each bird in a telepathic sense to know exactly where to go and how to create the formations. He has a book called Dogs That Know When Their Owners Are Coming Home. And despite what skeptics claim, this experiment does indeed demonstrate anomalous behavior due to all the controls and variables put into place by Sheldrake. So instead of embracing these new ideas, there's basically a permanent hit squad against Sheldrake, turning his Wikipedia page into a battlefield of mostly skeptics who maintain a position of power and supremacy on Wikipedia. And these aren't real skeptics. What it is it's the materialism lobby. So the materialism lobby, they say that nothing that's, quote, supernatural can or ever will exist. That everyone's experiences, whether it's with the afterlife or spirit contact or telepathy or anything else that people experience commonly, all of it's an illusion, and none of it's real, none of it ever will be real. And anybody who talks about the subjects deserve to have their careers destroyed and should not be given a platform and should be censored. The people who believe this are the hardcore skeptics, such as a group called the Guerilla Skeptics, which are given permission to have free reign on Wikipedia to essentially change any article that they want and be in a position of authority to do so, and be very unlikely to have successfully contested on those edits that they make. So Rupert Sheldrake's page is essentially crafted to make him look as bad as possible. They mention about Sheldrake's theory of morphic resonance. Morphic resonance is not accepted by the scientific community as a measurable phenomenon, and Sheldrake's proposals relating to it have been characterized as pseudoscience. Characterized by who? Right? It's characterized by pseudoscience by the people writing and editing the article. Okay? They're the ones categorizing it as pseudoscience. So, right. Critics cite a lack of evidence for morphic resonance and an inconsistency between the idea and the data from genetics and embryology. Translation: there was an inconsistency between modern mainstream genetics and embryology and this new idea which implements some non-physical theories. So, yes, there is an inconsistency between those two things because one is part of a standard materialist, physicalist model of the universe that says that the mind is matter, nothing that's supernatural can exist, and we're all biological robots. And the other says that, hey, maybe there's more to life, the universe, and everything than physicalists believe. That's the inconsistency, and that's the evidence they use against what he says, or what he claims, his theory. So basically they're saying that what you say can't be true because we've already calculated these things can't happen. So if they are happening, it must be either fraud or manipulation or just bad experiments. Right? They don't get that maybe it's true because other ideas in science are outdated and maybe this is the new frontier. They also express concern. Who is they? The Wikipedia editors. That popular attention paid to Sheldrake's books and public appearances undermines the public's understanding of science. Does it? No. So, sources. I'll get to that in a second. Sheldrake's ideas have found support in the New Age movement of individuals such as Deepak Chopra. Again, this is another jab because the New Atheists, the materialist lobby, they love to create pariahs, and so in a very political way, they will affiliate some. It's an old political tactic, right? So, what happens when the KKK supports a candidate? And the candidate doesn't even know about it, and then the opponents can say this candidate is endorsed by the KKK, even though it means nothing about the person's character. So here it is with Deepak Chopra. So for some reason, the materialist lobby made Deepak Chopra into like this pariah. I don't really know why. I mean, I find Deepak's views to be a bit limited, but it's kind of guru-ish. I'm not a big fan of Deepak, but I don't dislike the guy. And, he's a philosopher, and he's into metaphysics, and he's more of a self-help guy. So why Deepak became this big threat to rationality, it's ridiculous. So I'm just curious, okay, so sources of that claim, sources, pseudoscience, Prometheus books, despite Sheldrake's legitimate scientific credentials, his peers have roundly dismissed his theory as pseudoscience. Most biologists considered Sheldrake's theory of morphic resonance hogwash, says somebody who again wrote some article. And you'll find that a lot of these arguments, it's an appeal to the majority. So they oftentimes, even when you see the sources, most people say, these people say, etc., then you click the sources, and it's articles by people saying, most people say, these people say, those people say. But there's still not many specifics about who these, them, and those people are. So these pronouns are not identified. Here's somebody saying, along with parapsychology, corn circles, they mean crop circles, creationism, ley lines, and deep ecology, formative causation, or morphic resonance is many of the characteristics of pseudosciences. An article from 1992. So, the sources, again, what it is it's a circular type of thing. So the sources who say that most people call his work pseudoscience, well, those same sources are citing other people who are citing those sources to back up what they're citing. So it's like this, just this circular thing between a whole bunch of probably academics and pseudo-academics who just agree with each other and pat each other on the back. A lot of skeptics, professional skeptics, I mean people like Shermer, Michael Shermer, their backgrounds tend to be in subjects like philosophy. And there's definitely scientists who are in these ranks as well, but the very aggressive ones, it's they don't have time to do science because their job is to sit on their armchairs and attack people who go against the status quo. So now, the big picture here is that Wikipedia is basically, it's mandated by groups that promote this kind of ideology. And there's a great book about this called Sci Wars, TED, Wikipedia, and the Battle for the Internet by Craig Weiler. And Sci Wars is about not only the Wikipedia editing fiascos, including about Richard Sheldrake's Wikipedia page, but the banned TED Talks from Sheldrake, Graham Hancock, and a couple of others. And these TED Talks again called into question mainstream materialism. They became among the most successful YouTube TED Talks of all time because people knew that TED was banning and suppressing their voices, and they wanted to hear what they had to say. And all it did was open up whole new audiences to some of these thoughts. So that's kind of the good news. But the bad news is that Wikipedia is still in this state where there is not a single kind of supernatural related article that has much objectivity or truth behind it on Wikipedia. So you'll have skeptical positions presented without counter positions. If there is a counter position added to the article, it will be taken down by these same groups who are highly organized and have and wage kind of thought war, culture war against anybody who supports any kind of metaphysical, spiritual, supernatural topic, despite the objective evidence, despite the objective scientific evidence. So, when looking for information about any topic, there's a lot of good books out there, but you should not use Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a defunct source. And people know this about other topics. You know, it's not good to go to Wikipedia to find objective political arguments. I think if you want to have an unbiased look at modern politics, you're not going to find it on the Donald Trump Wikipedia page. I'm not saying whether you like or hate Donald Trump. Anyone heavily contested is going to be a completely non-objective article. Okay, so that's all I want to talk about today. Basically, in a nutshell, skip on Wikipedia. And if you like what I have to say, then if you hit subscribe, that'll help me out a lot. And I have some books, I have my classes. I talk mostly about life after death on this channel. Pretty big topic, pretty important. And if you do a subscribe, it helps me out a lot. And that's about it. I'll talk to you guys next time.